Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to check a new 20x20mm stack by Zeez Design. In this video I'm going to go over its features and specs and show you how to install it on a new 5-inch build, which I'm going to test soon and feature in a separate video. In terms of packaging, inside the box you can find the 4-in-1 ESC and flight controller, which by the way are also available separately. A high-quality XT60 battery connector, which is pre-soldered to 10 cm long 14-gauge silicone-coated wires, two 35 volts 470 microfarad capacitors, straight pin headers that are going to enable you to mount directly a radio receiver and or a video transmitter on top of the flight controller, a bag with spare rubber grommets and screws for assembling the stack, and finally a bag with plenty of JST connectors for connecting the 4-in-1 ESC with the flight controller and also for connecting them with other types of flight controllers and ESCs. In terms of specs, the 4-in-1 ESC is running BLHeli32 firmware. Its continuous current rating is 45 amperes with a burst current of 55 amperes. It features a built-in current sensor. The soldering pads for the motors and battery, which can only be found on the top side of the 4-in-1 ESC, are pretty big and well separated. It features dedicated holes for mounting a capacitor. In addition to the 8-pins JST connector, you can find matching pads on the bottom of the 4-in-1 ESC, and you can use it with between 3 to 6S batteries. In addition, the weight of the 4-in-1 ESC is 10.1 grams, and its outer dimensions are 33.4 by 41.4 by 3.9 mm without the JST connector, and 6 mm including it. As for the flight controller, except the 20x20mm mounting holes and its dimensions, it is almost identical to the full-size version, which I have recently reviewed. So first of all, it features an F7 processor, a USB Type-C connector. It features 6 free UARTS ports, an onboard 128 MB of memory for storing black box data, a 5V 3A BEC which is protected from overcurrent, over temperature and short circuit. On each corner you can find a 3-pins JST connector for LED strips, which by the way are now not a part of this combo and you can purchase them separately. On each corner you can also find very bright LEDs, which you'll be able to configure using Betaflight. Using the provided pin headers, you'll be able to mount directly on top of the flight controller a TBS Crossfire Nano receiver and a Unify Nano video transmitter. The voltage that the VTX is going to be supplied with can be set to 5 volts or to the voltage of the battery, so you have to make sure to bridge this center pad with the left one in order to set it to 5 volts or with the right one in order to set it to VBUT, as otherwise it's not going to be powered up. Same goes for this pad, which you can use to power radio receivers, which using these pads can be set to either 3.3 or 5 volts. You should note however that in case you are going to use a Crossfire Nano receiver, regardless it's going to be provided with 5 volts. On the top front of the flight controller you can find pads for connecting an FPV camera, and by using these 3 pads, this pad over here can be either set to camera control or your 6TX pad. In addition, the weight of the flight controller is 7.2 grams, and its outer dimensions are 30 by 35.6 by 5.8 mm. In case you wonder, the weight of the 20x20mm stack is 17.3 grams, so it's 12.4 grams lighter than the 30x30mm stack. Now I'm going to quickly assemble this new 5-inch frame by STP Hobby and then show you how to install and configure the stack. As you can see, my new build is almost ready, and by the way, with this specific frame I recommend to go with the 30x30mm stack, as installing it is going to be more convenient because the 20x20mm mounting holes of this frame support only 2mm screws. In addition, in case you are going to use a Crossfire Nano receiver and you would like to mount it directly on top of the stack using pin headers, keep in mind that the stock Immortal T antenna is going to be too short and you will need to use its longer version. Now let's go over the Betaflight configuration of this stack. First of all, out of the box, the flight controller came pre-flashed with Betaflight 4.1.0, so I recommend before configuring it, update it to the latest available firmware, which is at the moment of shooting this video, 4.2.2. Under the port section of Betaflight, the ESC sensor input is configured on UARTS 1. Since in this build I'm using the Rush Tank 2 Ultimate video transmitter, I've set the VTX TBS Smart Audio Protocol on UARTS 3. The Crossfire Nano SE receiver is connected to UARTS 4, and because of that I enabled the serial RX switch next to UARTS 4, and I'm using a GPS which is connected to UARTS 5. Under power and battery, the amperage meter scale should be set to 200. Under the configuration tab, I've enabled the ESC sensor and bidirectional D-shot switches. The receiver is set to Crossfire protocol, which is by the way the default option. Under other features, the LED strip is turned on, and you can configure it using the LED strip tab on Betaflight. So for example, if you'd like to adjust the colors of the built-in LEDs, press the digit 0, and over here you'll be able to adjust its colors. Finally, because the flight controller features a built-in VTX power switch, you should note that you will have to assign an auxiliary switch to the user 1 mode under the mode section of Betaflight, as otherwise the VTX is not going to be turned on. In case you would like the VTX to be turned on all the time, simply assign a random auxiliary switch and set the range between 900 to 2100. Now after adjusting the direction of the motors, this new build is ready, and I'm looking forward to testing it out on an upcoming video, where I'm also going to bench test these new RC in Power Wasp Major motors. So overall, as far as I can tell, just like the bigger version which I've already tested and really liked, the Zeez 2020 is a well-designed and well-thought high-quality stack that offers plenty of features and will enable you to keep your build well organized. That's going to be it for this video, and as always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments section down below. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you like this video, and consider subscribing to my channel and hitting the notifications bell if you're not already subscribed. See you on my next videos, and goodbye.